Bose is the presenting partner of Beyond the Grid. That's because Bose Quiet Comfort 35.2 goes beyond what you would expect from a pair of headphones. Just flip the switch to experience the industry-leading active noise reduction feature, and all distractions of the world around you fade away, allowing you to focus fully on what matters to you.
Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton, and you're listening to Beyond the Grid.
Here we are, the first episode of Beyond the Grid. Isn't this exciting? A new F1 podcast. I'm Tom Clarkson, and over the course of the series, I'm going to speak to the biggest names in F1, and not just about F1. This podcast looks beyond the grid, at what makes the sport's biggest superstars tick. And we couldn't have a better first guest. Four-time world champion and global megastar, Lewis Hamilton. I caught up with him in a little room at the top of the Mercedes Grand Prix factory. Just Lewis and me, no PR people, no rappers, no hangers-on, and no dogs. An hour of exclusive chat, and it's not often you get that sort of time with him. He was in relaxed mood, dressed in shorts and a t-shirt, and munching away on his favourite cookies.
So are you... We're not on camera, I can eat my biscuits.
You can do whatever you want. We chatted about anything and everything, both his life on and off the racetrack. It's a very different side to Lewis, one that you aren't used to seeing or hearing. I think he'll surprise you. Enjoy. You look like you're in a great place at the minute. You're driving better than ever. You're about to sign the most lucrative contract of your career. Just, is life as good as it's ever been or better than it's ever been for you?
Well, firstly, hi to whoever's listening. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're feeling positive, and whether you're working out, whether you're at work today, or whether with your family, or just driving to the grocery store, sending you guys some positivity. It's still today hard to believe how fortunate I've been in my life. You know, obviously to start in a cancer state and be where I am today. I was just standing on the balcony at home just yesterday with one of my best friends. He's been my best friend since I was 10. And he's like, wow, it's a long way from where we grew up. And so for that split second, we had this kind of silence, but also we were able to enjoy it. So yeah, definitely, it's been a whirlwind. It's crazy to think. I mean, geez, I'm in my 12th season of Formula One, or this would be the end of my 12th season this year, I think. And I am just on the way to signing a new contract, and it's just crazy how quick life goes, as we all know. I always wanted to be a racing driver. I never thought, I hadn't even for a split second thought about all the other things that would happen, the other things that would come with it. You know, I do remember talking to one of the races that I was racing with years ago, and we were like, hey, how cool it'd be if one day we had a boat, how cool it'd be one day if we had jet skis and get to travel the world and all those kind of things. Just as kids talk crazy stuff. And not that I have a boat, but travel and do those things. It's I really do truly believe that somehow you can manifest certain things that you either envision or you dream. Almost everything that I've envisioned has come to light, apart from like going to space and being Superman, or like I literally dreamt of, I was like, for example, I naturally wanted to be a Formula 1 driver. I was like, that's what I want to do. My view of it was never a part of, from 5 years old, there was never like, oh, actually I want to be a football player, or actually I want to be a tennis player, or it was just always 100% racing. I want to be in Formula 1. And I never lost sight of it, and that's where I got to. It's just crazy. And for example, I got an invite to Monaco when I was younger, and I dreamt of going there. I got to go there, and then when I got there, I saw it, and I was like, wow, this is where I want to live one day. I live there. I always wanted to design my own fashion label and do something with a top brand, and I just put my focus on trying to get myself in position to be able to do so. I've just embarked on doing it. So it's just crazy how one thing can lead to another.
What do you put it down to? Because not all of that is down to raw talent, is it? Is it hard work?
Yeah, well, I mean, naturally, for me personally, nothing has come, everything, racing is everything for me, so everything is spurred from that, naturally. But, when you get to Formula One, there's a lot of whispers around you that the racing, or there's a racing driver is all you can be. You can't be anything else, and you can be whatever you want to be, and you can be as many things as you want to be. It depends how much time you have and how much focus you want to give it. But the fact is, I think we all have talents in lots and lots of different things. It's about discovering them. I mean, I was very, very lucky to discover mine when I was 5. That I know that doesn't happen for many people. People maybe don't find their true talent till later. It might be that their parents weren't in the position or weren't open-minded enough maybe to have suggested something. Or you've dibbled in something but you've not stayed with it. Like for example, I always wanted to play the piano, but I had one lesson with this classical teacher. The woman was like 80 years old, and I nearly fell asleep in the class, and I stopped. 20 odd years later, I'm like, damn it, I wish that I stayed.
Do you really wish you'd stayed?
Yeah, because I'm learning now. And it's just, I would be a magician at the bloody piano.
You'd be
right
grade
now.
8, you'd be away.
I'd be grade 8, I would be so good right now. So, it's just, it is talent, and it's just really also focus. I think focus is the key.
The key to achieving what you want. Focus. When did you first become aware of life beyond Formula One?
For me, it was when I got into a relationship, and it just so happened my relationship was with a woman that was in Los Angeles. So I don't know if I would have got to Los Angeles any time in that period if it hadn't been for that relationship. But going out to somewhere and experiencing something new and seeing a new world and meeting people from different walks of life, actors and musicians and all sorts, and bit by bit started to see more, and then also started to expand your mind. So it's very easy when you grow up in a city, or you sit at your desk and you're focused on one thing, you get tunnel vision, and it's difficult. It's like you're like a horse with those blockers on, and it's really trying to open your perspective. And definitely as a kid, I was tuned in to be in tunnel vision.
When was that? What year did you start that relationship? Just because
it's very late.
It was quite late. Okay.
The relationship I started when I was 23. So I mean, I don't feel like I really started to grow till I was like in my mid-20s.
And prior to that, it was just racing, and family, racing, and But would you be the driver you are now if you hadn't been so focused in those early years?
I think I potentially would have been better, or maybe I would be the driver I am now earlier. Maybe, I think if I was a bit more open-minded and more grown and more mature at a younger age, naturally, I think I would have been in a better position. If I had the maturity of me as a 26-year-old at 22, or 28-year-old at 22, but that's the same for all of us. If you knew what you knew now, back then you would be a billionaire,
Yeah. I remember first interviewing you. You won't remember this, but it was back in 2006 when you were in GP2, and the take-home message for me, I mean, you were dominating and having a great season and everything, but was how relaxed you were. Because there's so much intensity around some of the young guys coming through now. They just want it so much.
Yeah.
And one thing that really, given that you were, on the McLaren Young Driver program, and you were clearly the next big thing for Great Britain, I just remember thinking, he's just so cool with all this. How is that possible? A lot has changed in your life, but can you still see a lot of yourself in?
Definitely. Even further back than 2006. I think you're never going to lose really who you are, especially when you've got you're super close to your family who keep your feet on the ground, and you've got your closest friends still. You're the one from the day you met you did your first day at senior school, high school. I remember when I was 2006. I mean, I always had the confidence in what I was doing. I knew I had the ability, and I knew I was going. So there was, in my mind, there was no. I was like a runaway train. You can't stop it, you know. Like I knew where I was going, and there was nothing. I truly believe there was nothing to get in my way.
You had a lot of momentum. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
I had momentum at the time, and yeah, for sure. I mean, I was signed by McLaren, but I wasn't. Every day was a worry that I could lose it. My dad and I, particularly my dad, would spend just hours and hours and hours and hours just communicating with McLaren, just trying to make sure, are we doing everything you guys want us to do? Is there anything more we can do? Just trying to go over and above to make sure, because we had to be squeaky clean. You know, we were the only black family in the sport. It was by no means at all an easy route. We were very, very lucky that we got funding, which we wouldn't have made it to Formula 1 without. We just couldn't find the money. But we still had to navigate. We had to make sure every weekend we crushed it. We had to make sure that every single person that we came in contact with, be it whether your team, whether it's the sponsors, whatever it may be, they go back to the big boss and they're like, wow, these guys are switched on. These guys are the best people. They're so kind. And, you know, just making sure that you've left no stone unturned, so that when it comes to the day, they say, so who should we put in the car? There's no question, no doubt in their minds.
Well, look, here we are now, 2018. How has Formula 1 changed you?
Formula 1, I would say Formula 1 is, Formula 1 has given me a life, given me a purpose, which is pretty special. But Formula 1 has also broken me. It's broken me and it's built me, and it's broken me and it's built me. You know, it's.
What do you mean broken you?
Well, when you go through it, you put so much into it. It breaks your heart. It kills you when you fail, when you stumble, when everyone's watching when you stumble. And then when you get back up and you succeed, it lifts you up. So you fall and you break a bone and you heal and you keep going. And so that's what I mean by it.
It's the emotion of sport, I guess, isn't it?
It is. The passion you have for what you do and the will to succeed is just something that I it's hard to express, but everyone has it in some shape or form.
And do you love the emotional highs and lows? The fact that it's so unpredictable?
I don't know if I can...
Or is that hindsight again?
I don't know if I can say that I love the highs and lows, because the lows are the worst. And I'm generally quite an emotional person, so I would say there are athletes and drivers and just performers that there are some that have, if you imagine, it could be not the heartbeat line, but if you imagine like an oscillation, a line that's oscillating up and down, up and down, up and down. There are some, say that's an emotional line. There are some that have higher ups and downs. It's off the charts, and some of them are more balanced. I would say probably the best performers, like Serena, like Muhammad Ali, theirs is more calm. And the calmer you can get it, I think the better it can be for you. But if you're, particularly at the beginning of my career, I was peaks, up and down, just freaking hard to keep it focused, you know? But if you can then learn to breathe and calm that squealy oscillation line in emotion, you can then focus a lot better. I guess it's almost the same as if you're shooting at a target, but you're moving around. If you can breathe and calm it down, you're much more on target.
Hold your breath.
Yeah. I think Formula 1 has, as I said, it's helped me grow. I've gained a lot more confidence within myself. What it's given me is the platform to be able to do things that I want to do, live a life that I could have only have dreamed of. But it's also given me an opportunity to work with like big, huge teams of people, big companies, travel around the world, see different cultures, dibble and dabble in different lingos, try different foods.
You love travel, don't you? I get the
I
impression
do.
you do anyway.
I just really appreciate culture, and particularly when you get to visit different places, it's great. I like and appreciate seeing different cultures, different religions, all these different things. We're all so similar, but also so different in so many ways.
How many countries do you think you visited in your life?
I couldn't number it. There's still countries that I have not visited, but it's a freaking lot of countries.
You've lost count.
Yeah, I definitely have.
What's still on the list?
I've not been to Bulgaria, for example, just randomly. I've not been to Serbia. I've not been to Iceland. I've not been to the Antarctica. I've not been to Egypt. There's a lot of places I've still not been to. But I think I've really tried to steer clear of doing them all as well, because there is a life beyond racing, and I don't want to have done everything. You know, I remember the first time I traveled to Italy, and I remember landing and driving, and everything just seemed so alien. And I missed that and I missed that feeling. And so, because everywhere I go, I've often been to already, and you've lost that. It's like when you drive a Formula 1 car for the first time, that first feeling, it's never going to be the same. It's like when you kiss a woman for the first time, it's never the same. It's always different. Not that it's worse or anything, it's just different. And I think I would like to hope that one day when I stop racing and I go and take family somewhere, I get that feeling back in a new place that I've not been, and I'm venturing out and experience. That's what I'm really, really hopeful of. So I'm trying to keep as many places as possible.
So actually, it's quite interesting because you're talking a lot on social media at a minute about wanting to challenge yourself. I mean, I've seen videos of you scuba diving. I mean, everything, skiing. Or maybe snowboarding. Do you ski or
I snowboard?
Snowboard.
Yeah.
Having a massive shunt, actually.
Yeah.
For a guy who does what you do for a living, why the need to constantly challenge yourself when you're not in a racing car?
Just since I was a kid, I've literally since I was a baby, if I wasn't moving forwards, I just feel like I'm standing still and almost dying, you know. So,
but this is dangerous. Some of this stuff you're doing. But there's no sort of dangerous sport clause in your contract.
No pain, no gain, and no risks, no rewards. You know, like I don't know. I'm definitely at a place in my life. I wish that, going back to the whole piano thing, I wish that I stuck with things, having known what I know now. If I'm fortunate enough to have a family and have kids one day, geez, I'm just going to spread out all these different, instruments and I think I'm going to be a fun-loving father, but I want them to speak as many languages as they can. I want them to have an open mind from very early on, you know. And
let's think of the opportunities your children are going to have.
Yeah, it's going to be so much different too.
And I think you can't criticize or be hard on yourself for what you didn't do.
No, definitely. Yeah,
you got to where you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's about opportunity, isn't it?
It is about opportunity, and we did the best we could with what we had, for sure. Yeah. But just right now, I'm just trying to, as I said, as I get older, and having people pass away, you realize how fragile we are, and how precious life is, and all of us, me, everyone, we take so much stuff for granted. Everything in our daily lives. You get in a car and you drive somewhere. It's just another means of travel, but what's gone into getting the fuel, extracting the fuel from the oil and all those different things. I just think it's just about, whenever my time's up, I want to be I like to imagine the pearly gates, and I'll be like, I didn't get through everything that I wanted to do, but I gave it a good shot and I got through most. And so yeah, I'm trying to learn things. I'm trying to, I'm challenging myself. For example, I did my diving test because I love the ocean and I'm fascinated by sea life. And so, but the challenge of doing the test was something that because as a kid, I'm dyslexic, I struggled at school. So challenging my mind, learning new things, surpassing certain tests. I love doing risky stuff, even if there's a bit of pain sometimes in it. I just love that thrill factor. So that's never going to change. Whether you're bungee jumping, whether you're skydiving, whether you're doing these great things, which I know not everyone gets to do. And when I posted that video, I look at it and I'm like, there are a lot of people that currently don't have the opportunity to do those things. But when I've posted things like, whether I've been flying private or something, it was never ever to put it in someone's face. It's really just show you what's possible. I grew up in Stevenage in a council estate. I grew up living on my dad's couch. It just, if anything, it was really, really to try to show you that it is possible. But I think in today's society, people want everything now, as we all do. When I was young, I was like, I want to be a Formula 1 driver now. And it took 20 bloody years to get there. But it's really just to show to people that there is possibilities.
Inspire people.
That's what it's meant to be. And look, I'm in a different place in my life. I'm in Formula One. Yes, I have money. I'm in have a much different platform to lead myself from. But I tell you what, I'm not just going to sit and squander my money or sit around and do nothing. I want to keep moving. I want to meet new people. I want to learn new things. I'm not going to be good at everything, but I can damn sure give it my best go.
Well, look, we've talked about music, frustrations of not being more serious at the piano when you were younger. What else is out there then? Talk me through some of the other things that are on the list for Lewis Hamilton to achieve. What are we going to sort of, in 20 years' time, hear that you're stood on top of the world, on the top of Mount Everest, or is it?
That's on the list.
That is on the list.
That's on the list. Yeah, that's definitely on the list. What's something I'm kind of slow at right now is education is everything, and being educated as to what's healthy. I mean, you go to most doctors today, and they actually don't really know what's healthy food-wise. They're taught the old way. For example, milk is supposed to be good for you, but it's not good for you. There's scientifically proven new methods now of things you should eat. I mean, I'm on a plant-based diet, but I didn't learn that till I'm like 32 years old. And I see footage of what SeaWorld is doing to animals. I see things that are happening, whether I'm diving, whether I'm seeing footage on TV, on documentaries of what's happening to our oceans. I saw a picture of a seagull, it was a seagull stuck in a plastic bag yesterday, and it was horrible. And luckily the photographer got hold of it and helped it get out of it. So I do want to be a part of a movement that's doing something positive for change. And
in the ocean? Or just
not just in the oceans, but plastic is a massive thing. So for example, right now I'm trying to convince when I'm in an engineering meeting with my team, there's 20 or 30 people in the room, and everyone's got a plastic bottle. There's no reason why they can't have a cardboard carton of water. So I'm trying to convince my team to move that direction.
Pete Bonington, if you're listening.
Yeah, no, it's Toto. Toto's the boss. So just, when I'm designing, for example, I'm designing my clothesline, I'm pushing Tommy to use eco-friendly products, fabrics. And this is the first time they've actually had to do it. So now all their normal companies that you go to give them fabrics, they're now having to discover new ones if they can't do it. So now they're also moving in a different direction. And my goal is eventually hopefully by my third or my last collection out of 4, it'll be 100% eco-friendly, and just all these different things. One of my friends is an NBA player, and I've just been talking to him about my experiences being on a plant-based diet. He's like, you know what? I'm thinking about doing it for a season. And who knows? Maybe he'll do something, and he'll encourage another person, whether it's 2 or 3 people, which could be kind of cool. So you kind of each bit by bit, dropping a pebble in a pond and creating ripples. I want to create as many ripples as possible
in as many different areas of life. You mentioned fashion. Mm-hmm. How much are you enjoying that? And where's the inspiration coming from? Are you quite artistic? Have you always?
So I've always been very artsy, but I was definitely shied away from it. I was very shy about it as a kid. I used to draw on all my walls. I was quite good at art as a kid.
In your bedroom?
Yeah. So I used to draw.
Must have pleased your parents?
Yeah, I mean, we had a terrible. Yeah.
Racetracks? No.
He didn't really say too much. I was kind of stay out of my room kind of guy. Don't go in my room. But but the thing with kids today and everyone, there's a creative side in all of us. It's just tapping into it and not being shied away. I remember as a kid, some teachers saying you're not good at something, and talking you down, and then you're like, okay, I'll give that up and I'll do something different. You know what I mean?
I don't believe they ever said that to you.
They did. No, definitely did. With my racing teachers say, parents from other drivers would come over to me and say, oh, you just don't have it. You're not good enough. You're not gonna make it. Like grown adults of our age and older telling a freaking 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old that you just don't have it, son. You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna make it. And then I whooped their kid that weekend.
How did that affect you when you got that sort of negativity? Because you're such a positive guy. Did it knock you back, or did it
definitely knock me back a little bit? It definitely, particularly the men that were very overbearing, like forceful with it, and my teachers particularly, when they talked me down, that hurt a lot.
I don't believe they talked. What did they? What were you not good at school?
I had a couple of, I struggled at school. As I said, I was dyslexic. I struggled like hell in maths. I was always behind because I was always racing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Pretty much every week I'd leave on the Thursday and miss at least half a day on Thursday, always Friday. Then my headmaster was a complete arsehole. And I get back on a Monday.
Name check, Mr.
Yeah.
Can you remember his name? No.
Nah, he doesn't deserve to have his name be known. I get back, because he didn't agree to me taking the time off and didn't support me. When I go back on Monday, he's like, oh, you took Friday off. You're in detention for the day. For the whole day, I'd sit outside of his office, which was a narrow corridor, and looking at the wall. Was deprived of schooling. So then and then I got there and then Tuesday I get to school and you don't have your homework in, so I got detentions. I was just constantly in trouble. And then luckily McLaren helped me try to get a private tutor, so I'd have that before and after school. So as a kid, that period of time was the worst. The best part was when I get to go and drive. But all the other stuff, I wasn't out with my friends because I was doing the extra lesson that I was doing, and it was a horrible period of time, I'm telling you.
Sounds
I
hard.
hated school more than anything.
And I guess you were always tired too, because, I mean, you're racing up at Larkhall in Scotland.
Yeah.
It wasn't travelling like you do now, was it? I'm
No.
guessing that you were with Dad in the car and
you're in the
sleeping
car,
in the back.
traveling around the country. And then when we got to teenage, to 12, 13, I was getting on flights to travel to Italy and back. And then...
Yeah, your headmaster was never really going to like you.
No, he wasn't. But things we showed him the opportunity that we had. My dad took him a contract and said, look, we've got this amazing opportunity. This is a real career opportunity. Will you help support, maybe help give Lewis extra homework, or have one of the teachers help extra time? And he was like, no, you can't do it. But
I bet he's proud of you now.
I don't know. I like to think that he's probably watching TV and he's like, oh, I helped him get there. I bet you any money.
He probably tells everyone in the pub.
That's the kind of arsehole he was. So imagine
No, look, we digress. We were talking about fashion, actually. Weren't we?
So fashion is just
arty.
So it just goes back to, as a kid, I was massively, like every kid watching TV, I was massively into music. My dad was in a band, so I was naturally encouraged to be involved in music, and he was always playing great music. So I'd watch VH1, MTV. I was hooked on those shows. And then I'd see these musicians dressing a certain way, and I'd always wanted to I was like, oh, I wish I could dress like that.
Who in particular?
At the time, it was like Tupac, it was Biggie, Aaliyah used to wear some great stuff. Yeah, there was Usher, there was, there was Jodeci, there's so many artists. And anyways, so I wanted to do art. My dad forced me to do something else. I think it was history or something like that, which I wasn't interested in at the time. And anyways, it wasn't until I got when I got to Form 1 and I started to discover my creative side and really start to explore, and whether you're putting pieces together, trying your styling, which was a long process of finding designers you liked and those kind of things. I'm really interested by other professions, whether it be here when you go and see these engineers designing the crazy things at the team, and you're like, I don't know how you do that. And then you see it getting made on the other side of the factory, and you're shocked at how they can make these things, and then they put it on the car. I'm fascinated by all these different processes. When I go to the fashion shows, I see these fashion shows come together, and it's for 8 minutes. So much work goes in. When I see the designer, I'll be like, hey, what inspired you to choose this material and use this ending? Why? I want to know why. And so just taking note and learning as much as I could.
Do they tell you, or is there a secrecy about it?
No, they seem to, a lot of them are really cool. I guess maybe I don't know if they always get the same question, you know?
It's just weird, isn't it? In Formula One, if you went up to Red Bull and said, hey man, tell me about your new front wing, they'd be like, hey.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's very open.
It is, definitely. Yeah. And it's a world that I really enjoy going in, because each time also it's a competition. You turn up and you want to make sure that you look the part, you know? Yeah. There's going to be so many people dressed at their best, and you want to make sure that you fit in, and also that you're accepted and acknowledged. And anyways, and then I've come to this opportunity with Tommy. He says we should do something together. I was like, okay, well, when you talk about doing a capsule collection, I really want to design it. Yeah, no problem. You do whatever you want. So then I had to study. I was getting books. I was looking online. I did a ton of research. when I turned up to the showroom for the first design meeting, I had a bag full of clothes. I was like, hey, I really like this fabric. This is one of my favorite pieces. Can we do something like this? I'm inspired by this artist, that designer, this, that. And brought them all in. Obviously, because they're used to it, they went and dissected it, sent me some sketches. Then I sketched back to them the things I like to change in it. And we went back and forth. And then we come to the photo shoot to see the whole pieces come together. And I'm shocked. I'm like, whoa, I love this stuff.
Yeah, proud.
Yeah, so proud.
Yeah.
And then my next collection will be better because I've learned through that one process, we can do it much faster the next time, and I'll be better, and I'm growing. So,
New skill.
Yeah.
New skill. Well, do you know what, talking of, it's kind of talking a bit like this, but is it true that Roscoe, the dog, is now a model? It is. Have I read, is that really true?
Yeah.
Now,
he's a good looking dog, man.
Well, see, now my wife's a vet, right? And I did say to her, I said, well, so Lewis has got bulldogs. And she went, all right, ask him why he's got bulldogs. So
I grew up with dogs my whole life. No, I grew up with Labradors. So my first dog was a Labrador. He was my best friend till I was 8, and it was the saddest day when he died. And I can remember that like it was yesterday. As you do, you get so connected. But this dog was an angel. Like I would walk. That was in a time in the 80s, late 80s. I'd walk to school, which was not massively far. You walk through the back alley and you go down the field, and the school's there, or you walk around the corner. This dog would walk alongside me without a leash. He would just follow me. It really was my guy. And then I'd say, go home. Back then you didn't have to have your dogs on a lead. I'd say, go home, and he would go and probably do his own thing. He'd probably go and he had a few girlfriends along the way, but I get home and he was there. It was really weird. His name was Goldie. It was a strange dog, and he would always be by my bedside. He was just my guardian angel. It was really.
So he was a Labrador, because the missus says that, bulldogs, they get breathing problems.
Yeah, they definitely do.
And there are skin infections and things
I always wanted to have my own dog.
Yeah.
And I always wanted actually a boxer dog, one that could go running with me. But then I was like, I need a kind of a smaller dog, really, because I'm traveling a lot. So I kind of need a smaller dog with me, probably. And also, I can't have a little damn chihuahua. I've got to have a dog that looks strong. And then I saw some bulldogs, and I love their wrinkles, and I was like, they're the cutest, cutest little balls of fluff. So anyway, I got my first bulldog, and it was just the greatest decision.
And that's Roscoe.
And that was Roscoe.
So what does he model?
And I already had the name. I was like, I'm going to call my dog Roscoe. Just now I have to find him. And I found a picture of this dog online, and I was like, that's the one out of 1,000 that I went through.
Roscoe after Dukes of Hazzard, or
no? Just I don't know where. I heard. I think I'd heard it maybe in a song or something, and it was.
So what does he model?
Roscoe now is he's part of a modeling agency, I guess, and he has auditions for different. He'll go up against like 10, 15 different bulldogs. They'll need a bulldog for a product, and they.
So he gets paid.
He gets paid like, I think he's on like $600 or $700 a day. It's ridiculous, and he loves it. And then he gets his treats, and he just loves it.
Yeah.
So and it's cool that they choose him, because he really is he's a handsome boy.
Yeah.
For a bulldog, because they're all, bless them, they don't realize they're ugly, bless them. Faces all squashed.
That's just fantastic, isn't it?
So he's.
And is it also true, Lewis, that you've frozen his sperm?
It is true. The reason for it is I had to get him snipped because he was poor guy. He would wake up randomly and just freaking ejaculate everywhere. Just poor guy, and he would get scared. He didn't know what happened. It was so funny, but it was bad because it was everywhere. So I had to get he had to get the snip, and I was like, but I can't not breed this boy. He's such a handsome, and he's got the kindest heart. So we're frozen it. So at some stage we'll get some puppies. So probably once I retire from racing and I settle down and have family, I'm definitely going to get more Roscoes.
Look, you talk about sort of settling down. Do you see yourself in 5 years' time? I mean, is it wife and kids and all of the above? Is that
like everyone, I see that at some stage. I never grew up dreaming of that. I've got some people that grew up dreaming of having that, but I haven't. I always said that I would have kids when when I'm 28, I'm gonna have a kid, and then I got to 28, I was like, hell no. And I'm 33 now, and I'm like delaying it. I'm gonna delay it as long as possible.
Delaying it because your lifestyle isn't conducive to having kids.
Because of the lifestyle that I choose currently to have. Of course, I can decide to change it and have kids now if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I like what I'm doing at the moment. Also, I have so many projects, and I just wouldn't currently have time, and it's just not the right time for me. Plus, I've not met anybody really that I'm gonna do that with. So, but I'm kind of like, wait till I'm 40 plus, maybe 44. I've got friends who are 40. I've got a friend that's 44, and he's still single. Well, he did have kids though when he was younger, so they're older now in their 20s. But I'm gonna wait.
Do you think having kids would slow you down?
Definitely. They're like bloody anchors, aren't they? They're like freaking parachutes.
But like back in the day, they did say drivers used to talk about it slowing you down.
Oh, slowing me down
in driving. Yeah.
I think that's impossible for me to say. I currently believe not, but naturally in getting older, you notice things like I'm still just as daring as I was before, but I sometimes think twice now. Jeez, when I was a kid, I never thought about what happens if you break your leg and you can't race. I didn't really think about those different things. That's where I'm conscious about those things more so now.
But you never.
But I still do them.
You still do them?
I still do. I still go and do a backflip on a snowboard. But I definitely think about the actual movement now, and I'm not as bounce proof as I was when I was 18.
But also your attitude to risk in the car, has that changed?
No.
As you've got older?
No, definitely not. I just think I would just say it's got better, my attitude to risk, in the sense that it's more controlled, it's more calculated risk. I'm able to calculate it more now. Whereas as a kid, it was just pure adrenaline and pure balls, you know? Yeah. Is where now I've still got that, but I've also got the mental side. I'm stronger in my mind than ever before, so now I can control it. It's like, I guess it's almost like you can relate it to the movie with the Force. He has the Force within him, but doesn't know how to utilize it. But I got the Force with me, but now I can control it.
Now, I'm probably putting 2 and 2 together and making 5 here, but do you think your creativity that we've discussed in the last half hour or so with fashion and things, is that somehow helping you in the car? Because you're just creative in what you're doing, your artistry behind the wheel?
It's...
Am I making 5?
Yeah, no, yeah, making sense. No, what it does, it just... I think all of us, we can easily get... if someone's listening right now, maybe they're at the desk and they're so tunnel visioned into what they're doing. But there are other hobbies and things that they like doing, but they've not had time for it, for example. But you've got to make time for certain things. But what I've found is that these different things that I do are just stimulating my mind. And for example, if I stay at home, if I spend this week just training twice a day, not doing a thing, sacrificing everything and not doing the things that I like, skip them, get to the next race, physically might be in a better shape, but I'm actually miserable. And if I do all the things, you're gonna see, if you see my schedule, I'm traveling here and there, I've got these meetings, I've got these different projects that I'm working on, I get to interact and my mind's being challenged all the time. I arrive at the next race, maybe I have slightly less energy, but mentally I'm buzzing, and that is more powerful than having all the rest you can possibly want, So I've literally I've tried it. I've been at home, done this training, turned up and just had a basic weekend, and I've been and done all these other things, and I've tried it multiple times and I turn up much better, in better form.
So variety is the spice.
Variety is keeping your mind stimulated and challenged, and you're learning new things, and that's why I don't want to move. I don't want to stop. I can't wait. I'm going here this weekend, and I'm going there on Monday, and then I'm traveling. I've got all these different things and different, and also like I've got a photo shoot, for example, on I think Tuesday and Wednesday or something like that. And it's bloody hard doing these photo shoots. And people probably think about models and it's super easy. It's absolutely not. And so getting the right shot, all these different things.
Do you feel really self-conscious when you're doing that? When you're doing
I don't feel, no.
You've done so
I don't
much
really,
of it,
I guess, I don't really feel self-conscious. What I do is I remember when I was younger, I just went in and didn't know what I was doing, and they took the worst shots. And I didn't know that I could say anything. So now I I know what I want and I speak up.
And there's the final thing I wanted to just explore with you today was your faith. Because you are so busy. I mean, just take that last 30 seconds describing what you're doing the whole time, and it's non-stop. When do you fit in time for faith
Well, you have to make time for things. And for example, every morning when I have breakfast before I eat, I pray. Every time I eat, actually, I pray. So I get to fit that, whether it's a couple of seconds, whether it's a minute or whatever that you're praying for, just take that moment. Everyone else is talking and keep it in. I say, sorry, 1 second. And you just make the time. And like Sunday, for example, this Sunday I can't wait. I'm going to church on Sunday. Wake up, get to church, and I've got meetings afterwards. And I go with a couple of my close friends. We meet, we go for breakfast, and then we go to church together. And we leave most often feeling enlightened and empowered. And it's like a recentering. It's really often, sometimes you leave and you're like, I didn't get that today. But most of the time you leave and you're like, wow, I know where I'm going.
And you have to go to a church to get that sensation.
No, I mean, for example, the church I go to is actually it's a beaten down cinema. It's actually a cinema. And we have a pastor there. So it doesn't matter where you are. Churches are often beautiful, but can be boring. But this one just happens to be actually a church in a cinema. So, but you don't have to go to church. I don't get to go all the time because we race on Sundays, so I don't get to go all the time. But sometimes I watch online on a Sunday or a Wednesday because they have the live services. Sometimes I watch like Joel Osteen.
And sometimes we have races, don't we, on Easter Day? I remember we've raced in the past. Do you have issues with that?
No, I mean, it's being strict, and there's sometimes just being unethical in some things. I fit it in my life. I feel comfortable with my relationship with God, and it's really about also giving thanks. And we all have these different things. You have your family and beautiful family in your life and people in your life, and who do you give thanks to? You can give thanks to within yourself or to maybe a parent that passed or whatever it may be. You just communicate. Sometimes I talk to my auntie who passed away and tried to send her a message. Hey, auntie, I hope you're well. Please keep your eye over my cousin's going through a difficult time right now. Guide me and somehow let me know if there's something that I can do to be there. So it's just about just connecting with yourself, taking a moment for yourself to acknowledge God and the great creations and things that are around you and are happening to you, good or bad. And also sometimes I pray before every race, just ask for, all I ever ask is for everyone to be safe and to free me to be as the best I can be. I know if I'm the best I can be, I'll be everyone. That's what I truly believe. So.
And if you're heading towards the barrier, I mean, I still wince when I see footage of that shunt you had in Nürburgring 2.7. Do you remember you had a tyre failure?
Yeah.
And you went head on.
Yeah.
Massive shunt.
Don't have time to pray.
No, but do you have...
But the thing is, that I anything can happen in a day, but I feel that God's got his hand over me, so.
Kind of what will be, will be.
Yeah. I think you're just bracing. But still, nothing's a given, and there's nothing that's written that says that I'm going to live to 100 years old. There's nothing saying that I'm going to live to see my next birthday. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to make sure I get everything in between now and the next day, and just...
You're certainly doing that, but you still love Formula One?
Yeah, I love racing. I mean, I can honestly say I really do.
Is Formula One worth dying for, though?
No, I wouldn't say Formula One is worth dying for.
Because it is a risky
your passion
business.
And your dream and your ambition and your goals, I think, can be worth dying for. Affecting someone's life in a positive, getting someone through. I've had people come up to me who ran after me when I went to this musical one time, and this woman ran after me and she's like, "Oh my God, I just wanted to tell you that you got, I was in 2007, I was going through cancer and chemo, and you got me through it." And I'm like, "How?" She's like, "Well, just every weekend I saw you get in that car, and the way you drove and then the way you spoke, I connected with you, and I was powering through it with you." And I was like, "Wow, I had no idea." And she was standing there 7 years later or whatever, and she's like, I got through it. I couldn't have got it through it without you. It's hard to grasp that and to imagine what she was going through, but she grabbed onto something, and that was maybe this little young kid that's come from nowhere, but facing adversity, but somehow fighting through it. She somehow put those together. So that's definitely worth fighting for. That's definitely worth dying for. That's definitely worth, if you can touch one kid and put them on course for their potential, that's definitely worth fighting for.
What an amazing guy you are, Lewis. Thank you for your time. It's been great to
Cheers,
great
man.
to chat.
I was a bit nervous about what we're going to talk about today, but I appreciate yours.
Was it?
It was a good interview. Yeah, it was good because we talked about different stuff, you know.
Yeah,
so
I really enjoyed it.
Fugees, if you say, "Oh, what do you think of the tires?"
Yeah.
And what do you think of this?
Tell me about the understeer you had through Sandoval.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. Oh, jeez, thank God I didn't have to talk
But
to
it's
her
just,
about that.
Lewis, you have the most amazing platform, don't you?
It is.
I'm as excited to know what you're going to do post Formula One as I am to know what you're going to do at the next race.
Yeah, it's
isn't it? You're just
that's cool. I appreciate that. I mean, yeah,
it's great. I do hope we still see you around in Formula One.
I don't know.
I know you've got so much to do, but
in all honesty, I really, I see these greats that I consider still greats. They don't know that I consider them greats. Some of the ex-world champions that walk around, and I look at them and I appreciate them so much, and they won't know, but people just walking by them, and I'm like, they don't even realize that dude there was freaking won this Grand Prix. He won that. He was ahead of the game at one point, you know. But it's the same in other sports as well. So when I think about when I stop, hopefully, when I decide to stop, I think people just get so comfortable and used to you. I don't want people to be walking by me forgetting what I've done, you know. So what I kind of, but also I have these other things. So I want to step away from it. But then when I do come back, it means something. You know what I mean? It's like the kid a young kid that's come up. It's like, oh my God, that's the ex-champion. You know what I mean?
I'm going to play. They'll always think that.
No, I don't know.
Your record speaks for itself. But I'm going to play devil's advocate and say you have invested 30 years of your life into motor racing. You know so much about it.
Yeah.
It would be a pity just to park that, wouldn't it? Or maybe not.
I disagree.
You disagree, right?
Yeah, I kind of, I've been around it for so long. I don't want to be around it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know, racing is not the be all and end all. I kind of look forward to. I think to myself, like, if I had a family now, my kid's gonna want to be a racing driver. I don't personally want my kid to be a racing driver. If they want to eventually be a racing driver, that's one thing, but I don't want to encourage it. I want to give them tools and help their character grow and blossom, and them to be comfortable in their own, in who they want to be, and choose a way. But I don't want it to be, forced by the fact that they're around that. So you know what I mean? So I'm excited about breaking away and being something completely different, separate from that world, to the point that they're almost at school and their parents don't even know that what I've done and achieved. I'm doing something different.
What was that advert? You filmed an advert and you were an old guy and you had your kids around you.
Yeah, it was like 60 years later or something.
Something like, isn't it? I've now got this image of you with your sort of grandpa, or whatever they're saying.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. The damn kids that were there, they were rolling their eyes back in their head. I don't want that. No, I just, whether it be, I don't know, but I guess it's just difficult but I definitely don't want to be around it forever. But when I do want to revisit and it to be fresh, you know what I mean? Back to this whole thing of when you travel to a country and you've been there, you've done something so many times, it becomes the norm and you lose that appreciation for it. If I just hang around racing, firstly it's going to suck because I love driving, and watching someone else drive is not going to please me. I'm never going to have that same appreciation. But it'll be cool to come back and feel fresh again and be like, wow, look how far it's come along. And learning something, and come to the garage and I'm like, wow, look at the technology, how far it's come along. Look how this driver's doing something different when he's driving. So when I pop back, I want to see change.
Just think, and Max Verstappen will still be younger than you are now.
yeah, he will. He will, exactly. Yeah, you know, up until then, there's these championships, man. They take everything. It takes everything to win these championships. Not just within yourself, from so many people. How do you round that team up? How do you rally them and get them? How do you get that army to fight till the bone to help you win that championship? That's super challenging in itself.
Keep doing what you do, I think is what you do.
Yeah, but it's, you know, how do you keep your engineers motivated, you know? And hopefully right now they can see, I know my engineers can see my motivation, and hopefully they're inspired, you know, they're inspired by the way I drive, and then they work towards it to give me, they know if they give me the car and allow me to put it in that certain place, it's gonna be magical, you know? Constantly keep inspired. That's a challenge for all of us.
I'm looking at the most successful qualifier in the history of Formula One. That's him. He's just here, you know, you see, you're doing it.
Imagine in 40 years' time when you're super grey, man. And I'll be super grey as well, and we'll be able to look back on it.
My mate's called me Badger, all right? Less of the grey hair, right? It's starting to go. Yeah. Lewis, thank you.
Pleasure, man.
It's great.
Thank you so much.
Great. See you at the next one.
Yep.
All right. Great.
What did I tell you? The world champion as you've never heard him before. There were too many highlights for me to pick out just one, but poor old Roscoe. If you enjoyed that, make sure you join us for the next episode with Robert Kubica, a man who's only recently stepped back into the F1 spotlight following his horrific rally accident back in 2011 that left him fighting for his life. His is a remarkable story of determination and bravery that I cannot wait to share with you. Make sure you subscribe to Beyond the Grid on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or via your favourite podcast app so that you don't miss out on that or any of the other fantastic guests that we've got lined up for you. And while you're there, please take the time to rate and review the podcast because we'd love to hear from you. Or you can join the conversation on social media using the hashtag BeyondTheGridF1, and if you want, why not tag me in @TomClarksonF1. And don't forget, for all the F1 content you need, just head to f1.com and F1's official social channels. But that's it for now. We'll be taking you beyond the grid again next week. Until then, keep it flat out. This show has been produced by F1 in association with Audio Boom.